Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan are honored to partner with Proudly We Served, as well as the continued support of our local active and retired military veterans across eastern Indiana.
I'm Al Bledsoe, Veterans of Foreign War, Post 1108.
I'm Ron Chappell, Chaplain from Vietnam Veterans, Chapter 777, here in the city of Richmond. And our guest this morning is Dean Auker. And Dean is the man in charge of Veterans Affairs there at IvyTech. And we welcome him here this morning.
Thank you.
Glad to see you.
Good morning, welcome, Dean, and we're really pleased to have you. And let me say before we get started that the food pantry is the fourth Tuesday of the month at Outpatient Clinic in Richmond, Indiana, 9 to 12. Outpatient Clinic, 9 to 12, fourth Tuesday of the month. Please get there early if you can, because our food source is starting to dwindle a little bit. So thank you for that. And with that, Dean, tell us about yourself and a little bit about IvyTech and what you do and things like that.
Okay. I am the Assistant Director of Financial Aid and Veteran Affairs at IvyTech here in Richmond. I work with our veteran students on campus to get them applied for the benefits so they can pay for their education on campus as well. So I've been doing that for about 2.5 years here in Richmond. I've been doing financial aid for about 26 years overall and doing veteran affairs on and off during that time period as well.
So do you get your funds from VA or from our central government location, financial department, or?
We get it from both places. We get it from the federal chapters, so your 30s, your 31s, your 35s and 33s and 1606s and all those federal chapters as well. We get state benefits as well, so the Child of Disabled Vets, the tuition fee remissions and all those type of benefits as well too. So we kind of work with both the state benefits as well as the federal benefits.
That's great.
Do we have a good participation of veterans at IvyTech? Do you do a lot of contracts or whatever you want to call it when they go to school?
Of the students that we have, I mean, we have veterans on campus, but we also have veterans that we certify benefits for as well. So not every veteran that is on campus uses their benefits for one reason or another, whether they've already used up all their benefits already or they're saving it for when they transfer to the next step of their education progression. So yeah, we have a good amount of students on campus as well.
Is IvyTech a 2-year school? Am I right in thinking it? Or
correct.
Am I? And so if I go to IvyTech for years ago, when I can remember when I was in high school, I wanted to go to IvyTech because it was a vocational school. They had a lot of vocational stuff like that, and I always wanted to do that. Never did do it, but always wanted to do that. And then it got sidetracked there when I got home from Nam. But
yeah.
So the guys that you service, then they have a 2-year window that they're going to train, and they're going to. I'm interested because of the automotive part of it, a lot of it, and you and I talked about that a little bit.
Right.
That's a tremendous career. I think if a young person will just do it and stay with it, they just really do well, I think.
Well, they can come to you with some credits already that they already have.
Correct.
When I got out of the service, I had accumulated credits through it was then called Servicemen's Opportunity College Program. And that way your credits were protected as you transferred. There was an agreement with the Department of Defense that those credits would be, remain on your record. Then when you get out, you go to a university that you want to complete your studies if you didn't complete them, and they would accept all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things whenever the student comes in my office, one of the things I help them do is we go out and request their joint service transcript, or the JST. And then that would come into me, within 24 hours, and then I would pass that on to our review process for their transcript to see if any of those classes will transfer in to help them progress onto their degree. So we do that to help transfer in some of those classes.
Okay. Okay.
But we have CT programs, we have TC programs, so technical certificates.
For the sake of the folk out there, what are CTTC?
CT are certificates, TCs are technical certificates, and then we have the associate degree programs.
Okay.
So the TCs and CTs are a little bit shorter programs, and then the associate degrees are the 2-year programs.
So you can technically get a 2-year degree. So when you finish, like with your program at IvyTech, when you finish that, do you go on to other things, or do you just stop there? The vocational part of it especially is what interests me the most, I think.
Yeah, and that's up to the student. If they want to come in and just get a CT or a TC and then just jump into the workforce, then that's doable, to them. It's just based on, what their employer maybe is looking for. Is their employer just looking for them to get, some kind of a small training behind them to jump into there and just show that they know what they're doing? Then that CT or TC may be enough, or they want an associate degree behind them, then that may be enough for them to further their education to get that next job level that they want to do, or is their goal to get that 4-year degree, where they can come here and get that 2-year degree and then progress on to an IU East or a Purdue or an IU or a Ball State or wherever they want to go to from there.
Now, if they don't have any formal academic experience, but they have their military experience, is any of that transferable to academic credit?
That's where we can look at their JST and see if there's anything that we can transfer in. At minimum, we usually transfer in something for some of the basic IvyTech classes.
Yeah.
We can transfer at least one of those classes, for that.
Okay.
How many veterans do you have, do you think, that you're actually actively helping and all that stuff? How many veterans at a time?
It kind of varies from semester to semester, but since I've been there for the 2.5 years, I've had anywhere from about 35 to about 20 on a semester to semester basis.
That's excellent, yeah.
So, for a small campus that we have, that's a good amount of people
Good. Yeah.
to help through that time period.
It's good training because the unfortunate part of our veteran community in Wayne County, which is we have a lot of people that participate in it, but the real part of that is everybody's getting older. And so somebody needs to, if you will, carry that torch to keep it going. And that's why I look at, and when I first talked to you, I thought, man, what an opportunity for young people to get involved in Memorial Day services and Veteran Day services, because sooner or later somebody will have to do that, I think.
What do we have, about 3,000, 4,000 veterans in this community, something like that?
Probably.
Wayne County, I
least,
think
yeah.
that's what they told me one time.
I forget now what Ron said. Ron Weedick, the service officer, I don't know whether you've met Ron yet or not.
Not yet, I haven't.
You're like him,
That'd be
he's a
good
great
connection.
guy.
Yeah.
He's the service officer, him and Buddy. He now has an assistant, deputy service officer. So those guys together, I mean, they really push the benefits and all that stuff that veterans have to do. So it's a good tie with, I think, IvyTech, because a lot of veterans are shy about asking for benefits. We have a total now, counting myself, maybe 6 veterans at Cronin, and every one of them are young guys. They're that 22 to 30, I'm going to say, but they're real hesitant about asking for benefits, and a lot of them, are Iraq guys, and I don't know whether IvyTech gets into that or not, but a lot of them are eligible for those burn benefits and all that stuff, but they get busy working and raising a family and stuff, and they forget about, here's a lot of benefits laying on the table.
Yeah.
So to me, that's really important, just like going to your school, the benefits of doing that, and the government will pay for all that stuff, or a lot of it anyway, I think.
But a lot of them may not even value education as a necessary tool for them to,
Sure.
to survive. I know back in the day,
That's been a long time.
it's been a long time.
Specifically,
Couple years
what
ago,
day?
right?
Yeah.
He can't remember.
I had not aspired to get anything beyond high school, but I was encouraged by a fellow in the service that I met who just really pushed me. And that started me on my journey for higher education. So my point is, I guess, if there's some way we can connect these guys with somebody who could encourage them.
Sure.
I think a part of it is, and we talked about this before, if they would become partners in some of the veterans organizations.
Certainly.
And in that, you can find some fellowship and some support
Exactly.
for folks. You know.
Veterans help veterans. And if you have that companionship, if you want to call it that, to go on, and that's how you move things forward. That's how you get things started. And the veteran community, there's no better force in Wayne County than the veteran community that we have.
That's right.
And they try to really, speaking of all the service organizations, they all have their part that they put into the community or give to the community. With Memorial Day service coming up, you'll see a big display of that from the Legion, the VFW, the Marine Corps, all of them. They all participate and do something in a way to help with all of that. So that's really that's a good time for veterans to get in the middle of, because you'll see more veterans out for those events than generally anything else.
Right.
So I'm a veteran, just discharged. Or maybe I've been out here for a while, but I've decided I got to get me some more education. I want to do better than I'm doing now. So I come to you. I hear about you. I come to you. What do I need to do to get started?
The first thing is just to get applied to the school. And then once they get applied to the school, and this is kind of the biggest challenge that we've had, is that, students come in, but they don't always tell us that they're a veteran and things like that. So if we don't get them in our system as noted as a veteran, then we can't identify them in there that way, so we can help them get these kind of services that we can offer to them. So that's one of the biggest obstacles that we're coming across. But if we can identify them that way, then we can help them get their benefits applied for and things like that. So once they're applied, and we notify them, or we noted them in the system as a veteran, then they walk them down to my office and say, hey, this person is a veteran, can you help them with their benefits? Then we just kind of walk through the system in that way and say, okay, here's your steps you need to do, that you need to complete the application, and here's how you do it. And if they're like, I've never done this before, I'm not computer literate, then we just kind of walk it through there on my computer at that point. And we just kind of walk through the steps. And if they need to call a VA for certain things, I give them that information right then and there as well. And I do as much as I can do.
Why are veterans that way? Why are they so reluctant to tell him that they're a veteran and get those benefits and stuff? That's just sitting there. There's so many benefits they can get just by simply being a veteran and being dishonorably discharged, for crying out loud. I never will understand that. I didn't understand it either when I was younger. That was the last thing I wanted to do.
And I think it kind of goes back to what you guys were talking about, is that they're just too proud to ask for help. I think is what it comes down to. I've had a few guys where I ask them, say, hey, we can help you do certain things. And they're like, no, I don't want any help. I'm like, but this is there for you.
Yeah.
It's free. You've earned it. Take advantage of it, that type of thing. And it's just, I think that's kind of where it kind of boils down to.
Yeah. We didn't have a reach out. When I come home from Nam, we didn't have anything like that going on. We didn't have somebody like him that was there to willing to, if you will, reach out a hand and help. It was more of, I'll bite you if you reach your hand, So these kind of programs, I think, are so important to the younger generation coming up. And the older I get, the more I see that this younger generation needs focus in life. And what he does, I think, is so important to focus their life.
Yeah.
So important, because you get off the track of just working and you really can associate with other veterans, and just, to me, it's the good thing to do.
Well, if you do any of it in this while you're on active duty, my experience is I attended probably 4 different universities traveling throughout the military. And several of them would tell you that if you decide to complete your degree at one of our facilities, just make sure you tell them that you're a veteran. And so when I got out, that's what I did.
Yeah.
And
That's the most important piece of information we need to know.
Yeah, see, I don't think that happens in that order. I think that somewhere you got to have somebody that's out there pushing. They got to, we're starting to reach out a little bit more in Wayne County with Ron and Buddy, both of them pushing it, plus the people at the CBOC reaching out to push the people to get people involved in the system. To me, that's just so important that we train the younger ones coming up. And I think that if we don't, we're going to, Wayne County will be a mess if somebody
not
don't
just
take
Wayne County, my friend.
Well, I mean, I'm
across the
talking
country.
specifically about Wayne County. We need younger guys involved in it. He's the key to all of that, to getting younger guys involved, that it's not all bad to be a member of the Legion, or it's not all bad to be a member of the VFW, And, I used to think sometimes that's all they got done was smoke cigarettes and drink beer, but there's a lot of things.
I'm a member and I don't do that.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't either. And so we know what they do behind the scenes in this community. That's what's so very, very important. And he's the key to it, I think. So.
Well, I think we need to garner some resources that will help point our young troops in his direction.
Certainly.
So I think it's incumbent upon us to come up with something to grab their attention, maybe just public broadcast, run something on there.
Well, you just gotta. I think you just gotta push it. And I know if they come into where I work at, and they're a veteran, I'm going to push it. I want to know everything about them, or enough about them that I know what I can do to help them. Saying that, and the benefits of what he does, the schooling and everything is so important, because again, this automotive thing. That's an excellent field, and IvyTech has a good crew of people to do that.
But Cronin is blessed to have you, and with that kind of interest and motivation. But I guarantee you that, and I'm not bemoaning any of these places, but Dollar General, Kroger's, they don't have anybody who would focus on.
They don't have that spokesperson.
Yeah, and so somehow we have to broaden that scope of being able to provide that information to them.
If they'll listen. A key ingredient is you have to listen. And if you've got a platform that you can help people with, it's just so valuable. And I was so pleased to meet him, because that is such a tool that can help get younger guys involved and understand that there's more to it than that. It's just, to me, it's just so important. So.
But I guarantee you, probably 90% of them watch TV or listen to radio.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would be a good something or source to just say, hey, you looking at further education? Why don't you check out, Of course, that would be something you guys would have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we forget that, and we want to bring that up a couple of times, is what you're doing for Memorial Day. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing there.
Yeah, we're going to have a Memorial Day event hosted on our campus at IvyTech. It's going to be in Johnson Hall, the building that faces 70. We're going to have it on the 25th of May. It's going to be at noon, and we're just going to try to invite as many people as we can from the community. So anybody from the Legions or the VFWs, the DAVs, all these other organizations are more than welcome to attend. And we're going to have, the flag presentations and all that kind of stuff. So we're looking for people to do that. Our chancellor, who is also a veteran, so he's going to be our keynote speaker, just say a few words during the ceremony as well. We'll have refreshments after the event as well too, just to kind of bring some light to the event as well too.
Are you going to print some flyers for that?
We will. So I'll make sure I'll get some flyers out to you guys.
So if you'll call me and I'll start spreading it out to get it out there, because that's an excellent event. And that's kind of the start of asking the younger, again, I'm going to go back to the younger generation. It's just a good thing to do, and then go right into Memorial, and you end up and have a good Memorial Day service for the veterans of Wayne County.
Right,
So,
and we also have a student veteran organization on campus that we try to get as many students involved in that organization. So what we want to try to do later on in the year is try to maybe have some kind of an event on campus to bring in maybe some of the legions and all that kind of stuff on campus maybe.
Sure.
To introduce some of these students to these places.
Yeah.
Because I know those legions are getting a little bit up in age.
Yes,
and they
a
need
little
some
bit.
younger blood
little
into
bit.
those mixes as well.
Sure.
And introduce them to them and say, hey, here's what we are. We need some new members. And maybe get them introduced to those places as well too. So, we're looking for some different events to have on campus as well too.
Well, that'd be good, and I'd be glad to help partner with things like that.
Okay.
We try to get really involved with stuff like that, where you can meet the people at IDVA, which is Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs. Those are all good people that are welcome to come to Richmond and sit down and have a forum where we sit down, do nothing but try to move the needle a little bit in the Veterans Affairs. So it's just, I think this is going to be something really great with IvyTech. It's a good partner to have. And they have young people. They don't have old guys like us. So they have younger guys.
Yeah, I guess I identify with that.
If they have the energy to do it, sometimes we can have the best plan, but if we don't have energy behind it, it just don't get done. And with his help, we'll see if we can't get that done.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, and part of my plan is to kind of make some visits out in the community as well. To go out to all the different service areas that we service in the communities and go to those veteran areas and go to the legions and say, hey, here's who we are, here's how we can help your people, and partner with them in different events and stuff like that too.
Yeah. We got a meeting coming up too.
Yeah.
VFW and BVA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get you some information on when the VFW meets and Legion and all that stuff, all those different organizations, and I'll be glad to. We both go to the VFW, so but I also go to Legion Post 65. So, but that's the way you get the word out. You just start going, and eventually, if you go start saying it long enough and loud enough, pretty soon somebody will listen to you.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. If they don't, they tell me to go away.
He's being shy. He's actually our president or commander for the Vietnam Veterans Association. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
He's a big dog, huh?
Yeah, he's a big dog.
Well, it's an organization like that, and he knows, like I know, that organization, most of us are 70 plus.
Yeah, plus.
And so it's getting older. So if you don't have somebody that's got the energy to carry it, and I'm all the time racking national over stuff, because as long as I've got the energy, I was down a little bit with my back, but as long as that energy comes, I think I've got to get that message out that veterans are an important part of this country, not just Richmond. This country needs to have veterans that'll stand in the way when we got problems and issues and things like that. When you got Ukrainian things going on, you need a firm military behind
You know what I did? I went downstairs and went in my old rack back there and got my uniform out. I said, well, if they call me, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It
said,
still fits, right?
No, not even. I can hardly get this.
But it's it's things like that made this country what it is today, and nothing disturbs me any worse than to see our country torn to shreds over stupid, needless stuff that goes on.
Well, listen, we only got a few minutes left, guys.
We need to bring
Dean,
up his
it's
Memorial
important.
Days.
We need to make sure you get contact information on you.
Yes.
So how do they contact you if they want to?
My email address is just DAUKER and then the number 1 at ivytech.edu. It's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me that way. That's probably the easiest way.
Okay.
And your
Email
veterans
me anytime.
event, let's go over that veterans event you're having May 25th again.
May 25th at noon at Johnson Hall. And then we'll have signs up as you come in to direct you where the location is going to be
May 25th, Johnson Hall Memorial Day service.
at noon.
And Dean is planning all that, and that'll be a good time with veterans too. So with that, we can
Look for Mr. Auker. He'll help you out, all right? All right.
thank you.
All right, hey, folks, it's been great. See
Appreciate
you next
it.
time.
Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan are honored to partner with Proudly We Served, as well as the continued support of our local active and retired military veterans across eastern Indiana.